Uh, Good morning. My name is Blake Edler. I'm team leader for Path of Cleansing, the Dark Horde, that we came up with for our video game name. And we have 5 programmers working on this. We developed it using Ogre 1.6.5, and also we use a CGUI system for the user interface. And next one. And basically, the main idea of the game overview, we use a real-time role-playing game type of genre. It's medieval fantasy, basic role-playing, nothing fancy. And our features feature hack and slash gameplay. We have a spell system, a questing system with objectives, game experience, you level up, everything you'd expect to find in a role-playing game. We have an underlying battle system, which is based on the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons tabletop adventure game, and it's heavily used in everything to calculate damage and spells, critical hits, that sort of thing. We've come up with a concept of a story. This is kind of an introduction we have. A mysterious object has plummeted onto the planet, spreading an infection whose masses became known as the Dark Horde, hence the title of the Dark Horde. As this sickness threatens to overrun our hero's kingdom, Shiro, our main character, she quests to find the source of what's going on and try to make it. First thing first, this is kind of a couple of screenshots of the very first stages of development. Before we had a definite game engine, a definite game architecture. And so you see the first one here, just kind of populating a basic terrain with all these entities of ninjas and an over-render window. Same thing over here. This is kind of getting a particle system to run. And then from here, we went into developing the architecture for the game. And to explain this, I'm going to turn it over to our game architecture guy.
For the game architecture, one of the first things we had to do when we got our group together was decide on what type of game and all that. And then the second thing was to design an architecture for the game. Well, you have to think about what different things your game is going to need to know so that it can play well and go around smoothly and stuff. So we decided we would have a state system where you would we had 3 different states. When you start up the game, you're in the menu state, and then when you play, it'll tell the program that there's a different state, and you'll go to a play state, and then you have a pause state that lets the game know not to update anything, just freeze and do some other stuff. And then we also, you have states, but what's good in a game if you can only go from one picture to another, which is what the states were originally, to be sure that they could fluently transit. So we needed game objects. Well, we made a hierarchy of game objects that included gear, which would be loot, like weapons and armor. You have creature objects, which your player is a creature in the world that we're playing in. You have the enemies that we have, and we also have NPCs where you get your quests and stuff. Then any other object that we have in our game is included in the other object. Those are usually inanimate, just sort of stand there. And to put both of these things together so that they work, we have our game application, and then we have to know how to go from state to state. Our application uses a state manager, and it it starts us out in the menu state, and then when certain things are done in the menu state, it says, okay, state manager, we can play now. And in the play state, we have all these objects. Well, we don't want to just be piling tons of objects in one little state. We need to have some manager to tell them what to do. We can't just have an object sitting there, la-di-da, chilling. So we have an object manager that tells and updates all the objects in our game. And then we have quests, which are linked both to the play and pause state. So you can view quest log and stuff like that in the pause state. All right, next. The next thing we're going to talk about is our battle system, which was developed by John.
Hi, I'm Jonathan. I'm the team's lead game designer. And I pretty much designed the battle system and class system that we use within the game. I can see I have a couple screenshots from on our wiki. I basically end up writing the entire rule book explaining the system and the classes. I have a couple snippets from our equipment showing some of the weapon types and giving an explanation of some of the weapons. One thing I want to achieve for my system, even though it's based on pen and paper role-playing games, I want to also kind of step away from some of the usual paradigms you see in the role-playing genre, such as a class system where classes have basically binary access to abilities. Either you can use this ability, or you can't use this ability. And I kind of want to design the classes to have some flexibility in what they can do. Like, yes, the mage is going to be the best at magic, but I want to give every other class the ability to learn some magic. Also, implement the system spells that appeal to those classes, saying that you're already good at this, we'll make you better. Actually, you feel like players can let their characters branch out, so you can have a single class, but it can branch out multiple classes. Also, because that's kind of one of the things, one of the problems with D&D's when you want to implement a new idea, you usually end up having to create an entirely new class to get that idea implemented within the game. Each character has a set of common stats, and each stat will modify what your character can do. Like strength will modify how well you are at melee attacks, dexterity affects range attacks, and also how often you can critically hit. If constitution affects how much health your character has. Like intelligence determines how much mana you have, and also how damaging your spells are and such. Here's our inventory system. Basically, each class has some predefined proficiencies, like which weapons they can use and which armors they can equip. For example, a warrior right now has some scale mail and a shield. Right now, you can still have a longsword and a long spear in inventory. But also, another part of my design was that even though classes start with some basic proficiencies, they can also expand beyond those as far as it's kind of part of my freeform class design. And over to our interface guy, Mark.